Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of your OGR, as today is game 69 as the Edmonton Oilers go up against the St. Louis Blues. And well, this game was a weird one. We blew a 4-1 lead in a game where we just played absolute shit defensively and had horrible goaltending as well. But before we get into that, I'd like to just say, if you are new to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button and hit that like button as well. And if I didn't say this already, it was a 6-5 victory for the Edmonton Oilers in overtime by a beautiful goal by Connor McDavid, who scored 2 tonight. And it was an absolute magnificent game. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see Draisaitl score 50, but still, he got 2 points on the night as well and was just all over the place for the Edmonton Oilers. So yeah, let's get into this game. First of all, this game was pretty fun to watch, but like, if you watch the stream today, it was an absolute gong show to watch this game. There was moments where I was like dogging on the team because we had a 4-1 lead and we should have just, cakewalked it. But this team, I don't know why, but we play horrible with the lead. I don't know what it is, but we've been playing really bad with leads lately where we just cannot protect a lead. And it seems that we just want to fly things in. Whenever we get a lead, we just fly it in. We don't try very hard. And I don't know why we do that. But I think with this team, we should be going 110% every single time we're out there. Even when we get a lead, we should be playing the exact same way that we played without the lead that we should do with a lead. But, we don't do that. We don't do that at all. And we just continue to play really bad defensively. And it's mostly because Holland built this fucking defensive core together with a crap ton of offensive defensemen and no one that knows how to play defense, apparently. Like Duncan Keith, who was just absolutely atrocious throughout the entire night. He played a lot more minutes tonight, and he seemed just really bad with it. Keith and Bouchard was one of the most played defensive pairings throughout the entire night, and I was really not a big fan of it. I really was not a big fan of Keith. I thought his passes were horrible throughout the night. Every time he had to handle the puck, he just sent it down to nowhere land and was not very beautiful for the Edmonton Oilers. He just was atrocious defensively. I did not mind Keith. He's just not great defensively. That's the only thing I'm not a big fan about Bouchard right now. He has not been phenomenal. But I just think that the defensive pairing between Keith and Bouchard is not phenomenal, and I don't want Bouchard alongside of Keith, like, at all. So let's get into the scoring summary here between the Oilers and the Blues. So we'll start off with the very first goal of the game, scored by Mr. Zach Hyman, who got his 23rd goal of the season. It was an absolute beauty of a goal as well. Good pass and play between Draisaitl and Yamamoto, and then Yamamoto made a beautiful pass, setting up Hyman as he sent it right by Binnington to put up the Oilers 1-0 to start off the game in the first minute 50 of the first period as well, which was absolutely amazing to see. And then Pavel Buchnevich, who was just left untouched and just kept motoring on, which I absolutely love Buchnevich. But he just motored on. He got through like multiple defenders and was able to bury into the back of the net without one Oiler touching him, because I don't know why. We were allergic to Buchnevich. I don't know why. And then right after that, Zach Hyman added his 24th goal of the season, which was another beautiful goal by Hyman. And then Kane, on an individual effort, was able to bury his 16th of the season as well, which was absolutely beautiful. He dashed into the zone. He was speeding. This was probably the fastest I ever seen Kane move. He was like a lightning bolt quick. But he dashed into the zone, almost lost the handle of the puck, got it right back underneath of him, and then backhanded right into the back of the net for the Edmonton Oilers, getting his 16th of the season. And that goal was also shorthanded as well. And then once again, another goal by the Edmonton Oilers. McDavid's 38th goal of the season. And this was a really nice one as well. Kane shot it from the point. McDavid was able to bury the rebound. And that's when Binnington got yanked. And that's when everything changed, because the Oilers had a phenomenal first period. We had an absolute phenomenal first period. We were playing amazing. We were really generating a lot of opportunities. And then it seemed like we just coasted. And I don't know why we do this, but we just coast and we absolutely play horrible. I don't know why. Romer Thomas got his 14th goal of the season, which was an absolute magnificent goal. For some reason, I cannot remember this goal either, for some dumb reason. I think this was the goal where he dashed. Oh, yeah, this was the play, right, where we couldn't get a handle of the puck. It got sent around. Side got a handle of it. Yes. So with this play, I wasn't very happy with what Darnell Nurse did. He does the thing where he tries to, every time he either sprawls or goes on that one knee and like puts a stick down to block an avenue. And I get what you're trying to do, but in this situation, you sometimes want to go after the player, you know, because whenever you try to do that, sometimes the player will bank it off one of your shin pads or whatever it may be and try to bury it into the back of the net. And you don't want that to happen. So for Nurse, I feel like he has to start playing that puck a little bit more, or even the body, and I think that will do him a lot better. Now, I wish there was somebody else being able to block one of the other guys in front of the net, which there was a few teams in front of the net as well. But they made a beautiful pass to Thomas, and he was able to bury it in the back of the net. If Nurse just went solely after the guy, I don't think it would have been a goal. And then Brayden Schenn added his 19th goal of the season as well, right after that. And the Blues were practically right back into the game. And this was also one where we needed Mike Smith to make a save. And Mike Smith just couldn't make a save. He let this one squeak right through his 5-hole, and the inconsistency of Smith still continues with him as he was not able to make that one. And I'm like, oh, man, the Blues are going to make a comeback. Like, this is a typical Oilers fashion. We're going to let them walk right back into this game. And then Darnell Nurse got his 8th goal of the season. And I was like, all right, okay, I'll sit back. We're not playing phenomenal right now. The Blues seem like they're really pushing hard. They seem like they really either want to point out of this game or they want this dub. And Darnell Nurse got his 8th goal. It was a beautiful shot by Kane. And Darnell Nurse picked up a beautiful rebound. Like, he was on his forehand, and he just got it to his backhand and just shelved it right past Husso. And in the third period, we blew it. We blew it fucking hard, man. Buchnevich got his 23rd goal of the season. This was a weird one. Very bit hard. He couldn't stop Parayko. Parayko was just dangling all over us. And then Smith bit so hard, moving too far to the right, thinking it was going to go over to Tarasenko. And Buchnevich was able to add his 2nd goal of the game, getting his 23rd goal of the season. I think that was, his 2nd goal of the game. And then Ivan Barbashev by a beautiful pass by O'Reilly. Like, this was beautiful. But no one was touching O'Reilly. He was just able to walk around. No one was doing anything. Another play where we just seemed to just let the players and we just coast around all fucking day. And then Barbashev threw his 20th goal of the season by a nice pass by Ryan O'Reilly. And in an overtime, as Connor McDavid got the overtime winner. As McDavid got his 2nd goal of the game, getting his 39th goal of the season. And it was an absolutely beautiful setup pass by Draisaitl. First of all, Mike Smith made a beautiful save in overtime. And then McDavid buried his 39th goal of the season for the Edmonton Oilers, and it was an absolute magnificent goal to finish the game off, and the Oilers get a massive 6-5 victory for the Edmonton Oilers as well. So that was absolutely amazing to see, and I was really, really happy by the way that this game ended. At least we got the W out of it. I was not happy with the way that we played during the 2nd and 3rd period. I was not really happy with that, especially with how we played defensively. I was saying at the start of the video how it seems like we play really good when, it's the first period, we get the lead and we start really playing hard, but I don't know what happens when we go into the dressing room. It's like, all right, guys, chill out. We're doing all right. You guys just coast the rest of the way. And it seems like that's what the head coach tells these guys, because we go into the next 2 periods and we just coast and we don't do anything at all. It's extremely frustrating to watch this team play right now. And especially when we did it against the LA Kings as well, where we just walk in, we fucking coast, and we get a lead, and then we coast, and we let the team right back into it. We cannot be coasting. We gotta constantly put the pressure on. We gotta go into every game thinking we're gonna score 10 goals per game, because honestly, that's what we gotta do. Because if we don't do that, we can't rely on our defensive game right now. Our defensive game is complete ass, and we cannot rely on our goaltending, because our goaltending is completely ass, especially when you look at Mike Smith, who was just absolutely doggy doo-doo throughout this game, where he definitely did make some big saves, but then you had the one where Brayden Schenn just easily shot it right through the 5-hole, like, so easily. It was like butter. Like, the puck was butter, Mike Smith was butter, and he just let it swip right through his buns, apparently. Let's move into the talking about the lineups, though. Kane, McDavid, and Puljujärvi, I absolutely loved every single one of those players. Kane was motoring all night long. He was looking insane. McDavid, we haven't talked about him very much over the past little bit, but McDavid's defensive game has been absolutely taking a step up. Like, honestly, I think he's in consideration being Hart. Of course, he's without a doubt is. But these last few games, and especially if he finishes the year off Hart, you can honestly almost see him steal away that Hart with how well McDavid has been playing over these past few games. and especially defensively, ever since Woodcroft has taken over this team. McDavid has just been playing phenomenal defensively, has been playing absolutely amazing, and is a real big player for the Edmonton Oilers, who's just been playing magnificent. And then Jesse Puljujarvi added a beautiful, he didn't add a beautiful goal, but he was generating a pretty good amount of opportunities, and I think he was one of the best players, without a doubt, for the Edmonton Oilers throughout the night as well, and absolutely amazing. And then Hyman, Draisaitl, Yamamoto, they weren't great defensively. They did give up a few odd offensive opportunities for St. Louis Blues, especially Draisaitl. Sometimes Draisaitl just seems to give up playing defensively. Sometimes he does amazing, and then there's other times where he's just a lazy asshole and doesn't play defense at all. And that's what generated a few opportunities. It's what happened with Ryan O'Reilly, because Draisaitl was just letting Ryan O'Reilly do whatever he wanted, and that's when Ryan O'Reilly made a beautiful pass. Instead of Draisaitl pressuring him and making that pass not so easily, he just let him take an easy pass, getting Barbashev an easy setup to tie up the game at 5. Instead of playing defensively. But still, really good line. They were generating some good opportunities. It was really nice. Brassard, Nugent, Kassian, we've seen Kassian get back in the line. I wasn't a big fan of the line. I mean, they were out there. They did not bad defensively throughout the night. Probably one of our better lines defensively. They didn't generate a whole lot of offense, though. And then Fogle, McLeod, and Archibald, they didn't do a whole lot either. They weren't able to generate a whole lot of offense, and they were meh defensively. I'm still really not a big fan of Archibald being back in the lineup. And then Keith and Bouchard, they were just not very great defensively. I was not a big fan of Keith throughout the night. I thought he just made some really bad passes. I was really not a big fan of Keith. Every time he sent it up, it seemed to be a turnover, or he just sent it to La La Land, where he couldn't make passes. Bouchard was the only guy who was able to make passes. Keith, he played too many minutes and just couldn't make the passes that he needed to make. His zone zone exits were horrible throughout the night. Every time he chipped it, it seemed like it just ended right back into the Blues' hands, and he had 2 giveaways on the entire night. Nurse and CC, I liked what Nurse did throughout the game. I thought he played really well offensively. Same with CC. They weren't phenomenal defensively once again, but they're dealing with a lot of high-level lineups, and that's a big problem, right? These guys are facing some of the top-tier, players like Buchnevich, like Tarasenko, and it's definitely a hard D for them. They've been doing well, but CC's starting to show that this workload that he's having to take on is very, very difficult, and, we definitely need a bit of a better defensive defenseman, and man, are we ever missing Adam Larson, my lord. And then Kulak and Barry, probably one of our best defensive pairings throughout the entire night. They were generating a lot of offense, and not just that, they played really well defensively throughout the entire night. Like, Brent Kulak took an absolute beating throughout the entire night and was just absolutely amazing for the Edmonton Oilers. So that is it for this episode of the OGR. Thank you very much for watching. I will be back in live once again at 5 p.m. PST on Sunday against the Anaheim Ducks, as this should be also a fun game to watch. But for now, guys, I'm going to end the video here. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. Adios, amigos.